think of a child and you're at the top of this massive water slide. I go down the water slide first. That creates that emotional safety. Okay, dad did it. Now it's my turn.
Every single woman I work with want to be more vulnerable in their relationships. They want to be seen more in their relationships. They want to feel confident enough to show like the different aspects of who they are, whether it's the goofy or the emotional or the sexy or the defeated, whatever it is, they are wanting to be seen in all of them. You know, presence over performance, especially sexually, I think it's hard for men. Women too, though.
Babe, I'm so happy to be sitting here with you again today.
Me too.
So, over the past 5 years, you have worked with women on so many different things when it comes to their relationships. And there's so many nuances to what you used to teach and kind of how you teach now. Because before, as people know, if you've watched the other episodes, it was kind of woo-woo spirituality and stuff there. So how has your teachings, now that you have been made new and have gone deeper into Christianity, like how has your teachings kind of shifted?
Yeah, in regards to relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good question because I actually started my journey prior to doing shamanic work was teaching like masculine, feminine energy and things like that. And I don't think that I'm not one to throw it all out, right? Like the Bible says to test things and keep what is good and holy and also biblical, right? And so there have been some nuances that changed, but I think the heart of it has always been the same, which is we're responsible for healing our stuff and inviting our partner to meet the places in which we want to feel met and in which we want to feel, you know, whether that's seen or heard or loved or more supported or whatever it is. And, you know, that used to look like, here are ways to be more feminine. And then it looked like here are ways to heal your trauma around it. Now, it looks like some of those things, but most importantly, here's how you become the woman that God wants you to be, and inviting your husband to become the husband that God wants him to be and him to grow into, right? So yeah, that's what I would say about that.
Yeah, and it's really funny because like if you follow Samantha on Instagram and you know some of her content, some people would call it like rage bait, but she's really just painting the picture of what so many women go through in their relationships, in their marriages.
Let me give an example of a post.
Well, we'll put it up here, but essentially it's us laying in bed and the caption is, there he goes on his phone again, not paying any attention to you.
Yeah, basically that's the gist of it. And I have different reels talking about the different things that women get triggered by, right? Like women are really upset with about their partners. And so those reels that paint that picture of the pain that women are experiencing tend to go semi-viral and get lots of comments.
And the comment that I want to bring up today, I'm not going to say names because she doesn't want me to.
It's not.
And
helpful.
I'm going to say what he said at first, and then I'll say what I said, and then we'll say what he responded back.
Yeah, to start our conversation today on, you know, principles of being a godly husband and being like a good partner, essentially, as a man. So yeah, let's get started. Let's show the contrast here.
So it was on that post that I was just talking about. He said, when women deny intimacy more than they allow it, this is the result. You create your own problems and now you're looking for a pity party. My response to that, I'm not going to say his full thing, but Uncle G, actually, this is further than the truth. All women want is presence. But men are so consumed with the BS that they can't even give their woman the one thing that they want. Not only does being present keep her from nagging, it allows her to open up. So when you go to make a move on her, she actually wants you. So I'd look at your own stuff before you try and blame the woman. That was my response to what he said. And then the lengths women go to avoid accountability is staggering. I don't know if here, like, I think he thought I was a woman trying to like defend another woman or something.
I don't know, because your name is very obviously
Yeah.
male.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what was going on, but he continues to go, you just don't like being called out on your nonsense. Most men try to do the right thing with their wife or girlfriend, but women take away intimacy mostly just to be mean. Men have finally realized how bad a deal marriage is and are now walking away from it. Keeping her a girlfriend makes her work harder to keep the relationship going. So intimacy rarely gets taken away because she knows an eviction notice could be served
This is so
at
dramatic.
any time.
Oh my gosh.
It is your wife, or if your wife takes away intimacy for no good reason, this is just insane. You have a free pass to get a side chick. If you're holding up your end of the marriage deal and she isn't, that's her problem. I'd love to hear your kind of
Yeah. Well, first of all, I told you.
not to go look at the comments.
I told my husband, I said, don't look at the comments in my reels. I told him, I said, you're not going to like them, for one. There were some other disgusting and hateful ones that he wanted to go comment on. And I said, babe, sometimes my reels reach people that are just in a completely different reality than we are living in. And like, I think it's very obvious by this man's comment that he's in a completely different reality than we're in, right? Not even just about being Christian, but just about like interpreting things different ways, right? And all I hear is this man has been hurt. Someone has taken away intimacy from him. And not to make fun, but to really, paint the picture here today of what we want to talk about, which is, what does it mean to be a godly husband, to be a good partner as a man? And, that ends up, what's funny about all of this is that ends up getting you the things you often want as well. I know, like, God is funny that way, in the way of like, he wants us to sacrifice ourselves and sacrifice our desires and things like that to love other people better. But the funniest part about that is that ends up being the most fulfilling thing. And we end up feeling met and seen and all those things in the end through that unexpected path. Yep. So, just a little rant there. So why don't we get into the conversation, babe?
Yeah. So how I kind of wanted this podcast to go is I have some principles for leading your wife in a godly marriage. And I just wanted to have a conversation about them, see if they resonate with you, see if they're in alignment with what women actually want, or maybe I'm just delusional. But yeah.
I love that.
So number one is lead with sacrifice, not control. And this means love her like Christ loved the church, by laying down your life, not demanding your way. Your leadership is measured by what you give, not what you get.
Yeah. What's funny is I think women are programmed to be givers, to give and to give and to give and to be the last one taken care of, especially mothers, right? And women tend more often than not towards people pleasing, towards overgiving, towards taking care of everyone else before themselves. And God asks the same, the things that we're most uncomfortable with, from the opposite gender almost. So like for men, if women are typically more of the overgivers, for men, I would say they are more of the, not necessarily selfish, but self-concerned, like taking care of themselves and not as oriented towards community naturally as women are programmed to be. And so God asks us to get out of that way of being, that fleshly way of being that is maybe programmed in us either from childhood or from the way we learned men should be, and do the opposite, right?
Yeah.
To be the giver, to show up and sacrifice yourself, and to not have like the selfish, it's just me, I'm the lone wolf man in the world way.
Kind of like the comment that was made.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do feel like what happened in that relationship, I'm kind of speculating and everything.
Yeah, of course,
right
this
now.
is like pretend.
Yeah. But what could have happened is she wasn't feeling met or needed, because how I look at it is intimacy and sex and all of that, it doesn't just start in the bedroom. Like that's one thing that I've kind of learned is through our relationship is like doing the dishes without being asked, helping with Athena when she is just out of
overwhelming me.
Yeah. And all of these things shows how you're willing to sacrifice yourself for her peace of mind, which when it comes to that time in the bedroom and all of that, she is way more open up and way more soft and able to be receiving because she wasn't in a completely different dynamic throughout the rest of the day, like
days
prior.
Leading up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think, if we're talking about that comment, that selfishness and, not sacrificing yourself can lead to a woman feeling like she's all alone and not supported and like you don't care about her, right? Like I think when I talk to a lot of women who don't feel like their partners are leaning in and willing to, in short, sacrifice themselves for the connection or for the intimacy, women just don't feel like they're important enough.
Yep.
Right. And so when you do that, and it's not about like saving her from, like, women are meant to be hardworking. The Bible says we're not like supposed to be saved and be princesses lying on like in a forest somewhere, like the New Age will tell you. Like we're meant to be hardworking. We're meant to do good works. So it's not about saving, but it is about like showing up.
Yeah. Which brings me to the next one, which is create emotional safety before expecting spiritual submission. And this could be spiritual submission, just her being able to actually allow you to lead her. So what I have here is she can't follow where she doesn't feel safe. Build trust through consistency, gentleness, and emotional availability before expecting her to lean into your leadership.
You know what I think of here? I think of trying to take a toddler where they don't want to go. I think of them like thrashing and fighting and screaming and like really resisting. And that's what women do. And you know how it shows up? It shows up as criticizing you. It shows up as, nagging you about little things that don't really matter to her. It shows up at like that resistance, that fighting you shows up in the bickering, the things she brings up that aren't like that really important, but they feel important because she's triggered because she doesn't feel emotionally safe. And so I think of that toddler, like that whole tantrum that women really go through isn't necessary if there is this foundation of emotional safety where she can bring things to her partner and say, this is the way I'm feeling and this is what I'm needing, and be met with that. What did you say? Gentleness, presence, understanding, listening, rather than defensiveness. And, I think that was something we had to navigate early on in our marriage was, I would want to just share with you how I'm feeling. And we talked last episode, like you would want to fix it. Or sometimes you would get defensive and take it personal when really my heart posture was always, I want to open up deeper to you. And so that's why I share it. Not because I think you're doing anything wrong, but because I want us to be even more close, right? Yeah. And so through time, we've been able to like develop that emotional safety that then the silly fights, the silly tantrums, the resisting submission into enjoying the relationship can go away as much as possible.
100%. 100%. So then the next one is pursue her heart daily, not just her body. So this is huge because I think a lot of men growing up, whether you're like for me, I was introduced to porn at a very young age, and that just changed the way that I look at women. And it was always about that side of things,
The physical, the sexual, yeah.
and yeah, physical and sexual. And throughout our marriage and our relationship, that has completely shifted into like, okay, where is your heart? Like, ask her about her dreams, fears, what's heavy on her heart. Emotional pursuit creates the foundation for all other intimacy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think in a marriage specifically, of course, both are important, right? Like the physical pursuit, the things of she wants to feel pretty and she wants to feel wanted by you, especially a lot of women that I talk to after having children, like they also want the physical pursuit, but without the emotional pursuit, like I think the physical is always limited.
Oh,
I think
100%.
the body opens, a woman's body opens as her emotions open as well. And it surrenders as her like mental and emotional system surrenders as well. So yeah, I think that's absolutely a good one.
It reminds me of like the meme video where it follows a relationship from day 1, day 30, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and the husband's walking through the kitchen and he's just slaps his wife on the butt. And day 1, she just loves it because
yeah, this is funny.
they are
flirty and in the honeymoon stage.
Yeah. Day 30, she still loves it. 1 year, you could tell she's getting a little annoyed, but she still likes it. Year 3, she turns around and slaps him in the face and says, "Don't touch my butt." And I feel like that's because a lot of men, we quit dating our women and we quit pursuing her emotionally because we think, how much deeper can we actually go? But there is so much more depth that you can experience if you continue to pursue her heart and her body daily.
Yeah, that goes to show the like, the body opens when the emotions also, like the mind and mental and emotional system also open for women. So that's how I think of it, that 3-year mark. Like she's annoyed, she's closed off, she's not feeling met in some way, she's mad at you about something. So like she doesn't want you to slap her butt. Of course, that's like assuming, but I've been in like small micro moments of that, like don't touch me because I'm mad about this or whatever it is, and once that emotional mental aspect is tended to, it's like, oh yeah, like I'll do whatever you say, do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's like a give and take with everything when it comes to that. Lead by going first. So this one is before you correct her for doing something wrong, you want to confess. Before you expect change, you want to model it. Be the spiritual temperature you want in your home.
I have actually never thought about this one. And more so like I am mostly internalizing that one because I think that is something I think is important for women too. Whereas some of the ones we've talked about already can be more specific to husbands and more specific to the issues I see that women are bringing to me and talking about. This one I feel like goes for all people.
Yep.
Like if you want his gentleness and his depth, like you have to bring that too, right? Like
he's got to feel safe as well.
Uh-huh.
Because like in past relationships, I didn't feel safe to be emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And with her, like, she would just start crying in front of me.
And that's like the space I live in.
Yeah.
So you felt comfortable to meet me there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You know, that's funny because 2 of my clients this week, I have talked about emotional safety, but creating emotional safety. Like they are wanting emotional safety, but they're not offering it to their partners as well. And so that's just how the nervous system works, right? Like if you can't hold it, if you can't hold the posture of emotional safety, it can't be met because there's no house of emotional safety to live in. And so I talk with them about like, you know, this is how you create emotional safety for your partner. You know, don't have big reactions if he's sharing something emotional with you, right?
Yeah.
That are like negative, things like that. But the main priority being like, can you have that within yourself? And I think that's what this is talking about. Like, you had to go first,
Yeah.
right? If that's what you're wanting from your partner and in the relationship.
Just think of a child, and you're at the top of this massive water slide. They're like, let's say it's me, her, we have Athena with us. I go down the water slide first. That creates that emotional safety. Okay, dad did it. Now it's my turn.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's safe to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
So then we send Athena down, and then Samantha goes down. I think if we sent you down, I think she would stand up there and not go. But
that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I just saw a video of a mom putting, this is just a random thing, of a mom putting this little baby, probably under a year old, face down. Well, not down, but like face going first, head up, going down this big water slide and going into the water. And the mom was at the bottom to get him out of the water. And I was like, would we ever do that? I don't even think I would do that with my 2-year-old who can't swim. But the baby was absolutely fine and looked like she had a good time. But
That's funny.
it's wild. Anyways.
Yeah, so I did this next one the other day. The other day it was chaotic. Athena skipped her nap. She would not go to sleep. And she was freaking out, like to the point where she started banging her head on the wall, just in this almost like psychosis.
Inconsolable.
Yeah.
Overtired, too much sugar. We had left a birthday party.
Yeah, and Samantha brought her upstairs. And when she brought her upstairs, I didn't see it happen, or I don't really.
Oh, she got out of, I tried to put her in her bed. She got out of her bed and she ran straight into the wall. Like legit. And that has never, like, that's not a typical behavior. She was that far gone emotionally and like, just like the sugar and all that stuff. And I literally just started crying. And so Mike came upstairs and yeah.
I came upstairs, I grabbed Athena, kind of got her to calm down a little bit. She wanted mom, so I handed her over to mom. And then I prayed over her, not just for her. So you really want to let her hear you talking to God about her. You want to speak blessings, protection, and gratitude over her life out loud. Because this just creates this feeling in her. I'll let you kind of explain what you felt as I was praying over you guys. And
Yeah, so this wasn't specific to like praying for me and about me, but it was kind of just like about our situation and what was going on. And I couldn't even hear, like, I didn't even hear what you were saying, but I knew that you were praying. And, you know, I remember it made me cry for one, because it was already just like a really emotional moment trying to get this girl to like chill out. And I remember that just like feeling hopeless. Like I can't help my daughter right now because she's so like far gone. It seemed like, and all the toddler moms know the deal here, or anyone who has had a toddler. And I remember feeling like you cared. Like, I remember feeling like you really cared. Like, to me, going to God about something,
You're going to the highest name in the
yeah,
world, like
like
asking
for
for
help.
peace and health and
Yeah.
prosperity for your wife. Like,
Yeah, that to me is like, you could do whatever you wanted to do around the house. You could buy me anything in the world. You could give me whatever kind of life like I dream of, and still that wouldn't meet the place in me that is met by you're praying for me. You know, like that is like, I think, the most honorable gift like I can think of, to be honest. Like, what else is there other than that? You
yeah,
know? So, anyways, that's how I felt. And I think you're right, because we both have had a pattern to like criticize each other, especially in the beginning. And like, these are the ways I want you to be better. Like, because we both have a very much a growth mindset and wanting to grow and wanting to be the best versions of ourselves that God, you know, has in store for us. And so I think it's easy to see where we're at fault in those things, where we're not living up to our potentials. And it's easy to see that in another person. And so we do have a habit of, you know, or we did have a habit of doing that. Now it kind of shows up different as like offering feedback and things like that and praying for each other. And I
yep.
think someone once said, do a woman was talking about like how she was complaining about her husband or something. And I can't remember where I heard this, but they said, do you pray for him as much as you complain about him? And I was like, oof. I was convicted
We watched
at that
that
time.
together.
Did
It was a podcast clip that we watched on YouTube.
Was it?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, I don't do that. Or like, do you pray for him as much as you criticize him?
Yeah.
And I didn't do that at the time. And now it's like become more important to me because it's true. And prayer doesn't only help the other person, but it more so helps you and your heart posture to that person.
Yeah.
And seeing them in a different light and seeing them as God sees them. And, you know, things like that. So.
Oh, totally. And you kind of led into the next one with what you were just saying.
Okay.
And we've talked about this a little bit because I was the complete opposite of this for a very long time. And it's listen to understand, not to fix. Most of the time, she doesn't need your solution. She doesn't even want your solution. She just wants your presence. She wants you to sit there. She wants you to hear her. And she wants you to truly understand where she is coming from. You need to hold space for her emotions without trying to manage them.
Yeah. This isn't a problem anymore in our marriage.
Anytime she used to tell me like something's going on, I just, how do I fix it? Like on Google, on like
Google,
ChatGPT.
No, ChatGPT wasn't out back then. Yeah,
no.
Which is weird to say. It's only a couple years ago. All women, every single woman that sees me to like do healing work and stuff like that, every single woman I work with want to be more vulnerable in their relationships. They want to be seen more in their relationships. They want to feel confident enough to show like the different aspects of who they are, whether it's the goofy or the emotional or the sexy or the, you know, defeated, whatever it is, they are wanting to be seen in all of them. But they had childhoods. I had childhoods. Most of us listening have childhoods where those emotions or anything like that got criticized. I remember, this memory has been coming up, so I'm going to share it. I was at the top of a bunk bed and my cousin was laying on the floor. And we were laughing. It was bedtime and we were laughing about who knows what. Like we were just in pure joy. I remember, you know, late night sleepover, we're just laughing about stuff, having fun. And my dad comes in and yells at us and threatens to spank us or something for staying up and laughing and being. And I have pinpointed that recently to this like vulnerability I feel when I share my joy and my laughter publicly. And that almost feels like a harder emotion to share than sadness or death or whatever. And so we all women have these experiences. Maybe it's not about joy. Maybe it's about sexual shame. Maybe it's about, they were sent to their room when they cried, or they were told to man up, but like as a girl,
Yeah.
like all these things. And women are fighting with themselves in the relationship of they want to show you, they want to be themselves, but they are terrified that they're going to be met with judgment, criticism, your uncomfortability, your rejection of them. And so I think that even beyond just not fixing them, just letting them be, and even encouraging them for, yeah, like I see you and I love this part of you, or yeah, I see you and that's funny, if they're being silly, or encouraging them to open up deeper and to be more of themselves without having to do anything about it, right? Yeah. So yes, fix it, but also do anything about it. Like you can just stand there and witness her and have a smile, and that will register to her body as, like that's accepted. Maybe it's not a smile. Maybe it's like a present look. If she's sad, you're not going to be smiling, but
yeah,
that kind of thing.
Or just like grab her hand like this and just stare at her in the eyes and just be there with her as she's feeling these emotions. Don't try to get rid of the emotions. Don't try to make her suppress them or make her feel like she shouldn't be feeling them. Just allow her to just be still in them.
Yeah. That's great advice, babe. I love that advice, especially for the harder.
It was hard to not go into fix it mode and to let you feel those, just because, like,
one, you were probably uncomfortable with emotions yourself.
100%.
But two, you cared.
Yeah.
I know you always said, I care about you. I don't want you to be feeling this way, that kind of thing.
It's like we always want our wives or our partners to be happy. And it's like, how can we allow them to be sad when all we want is their happiness? And then it just feels like, okay, I'm not doing what I need to do to keep her happy. Then there's something going on. Like, I'm not doing enough.
Do you think a lot of men feel that way? Like, would you say, I mean, obviously you don't know for sure, but would you say that majority of men are just feeling like they want their wives to be happy, and when they're not, they want to fix it?
I would say in most cases.
I think so.
Yeah. At least from my point of view.
I think so. Like when I talk to women, and
I'd like to believe that.
Right, that men have a good heart or good intentions. Yeah. I do too. And, with the women that I work with, one of the like requirements before I work with them is like me asking a little bit about their partner, because, I'm discerning, is their partner like willing to work with them on things, or are they going to be completely self-centered and things like that? And most of the time, these women are terrified to bring things up with their partner, but I have already discerned based on what they've told me, this is a partner who might not be perfect, but will show up, maybe not right the first time, but we can, kind of, I don't like to say train him to show up properly, but like ask him and invite him and show him to show up how you're needing, which is kind of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, it's kind of like lead by going first. Mm-hmm. Once you get that vulnerability and show him that it's okay and that there's nothing to be judgmental or anything around it, then he'll feel like he can be safe enough to feel that vulnerability with you. I think it's the times where a man feels his emotions and then a woman like snickers or kind of like,
I know,
laughs and smiles, like,
or like is hurt by it and takes it personal.
Yeah, like that will shut a man down for the rest of his life.
No, but maybe for a long time. Yeah. Hopefully not the rest of his life. But
unless he has somebody that reopens that up, like that is going to constantly be there.
Yeah, I guess what I meant was like, you don't have, like, you can still repair that. Like, if you do have a wrong reaction to your partner's feelings and stuff, like, the next time you can
Yeah.
invite, that's kind of what
Yeah.
I meant. Like, hopefully not the rest of your life, but
Or like sit down with him after that and tell him, babe, I did not mean to react like that, or
yeah, I was hurt. I was offended. I felt this
I didn't
way.
know how to respond to how your emotions were feeling. And I just want you to know that you're safe to feel your emotions. And next time I'm going to be a completely different person.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Hmm. What else you got on that list, babe?
Yeah.
What number
So
are we on?
7.
Okay, let's do it.
So Jesus, as we know, washed people's feet. And people were like,
Why are you doing that?
thought he was just absurd for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And when it really came down to it, he was building authority through service. And we can do that in our marriages and in our relationships because true headship looks like washing feet. The more you serve without being asked, the more she'll trust your leadership. This could be as little as planning a date night. It could be as little as being like, hey, babe, we're having tacos for dinner tonight. Would you rather have chicken or would you rather have beef? And like give her the specific options that you can kind of give her because you're being as service. Like you're going to cook the dinner, you're going to do all the things. All she has to do is make that small decision on if it's going to be chicken or beef, and then you do everything else. Or you can just go and if you know her favorite is chicken, create the chicken tacos. If you know her favorite is beef, create the beef tacos and have it ready for her when she gets done with giving the baby a bath or when she gets home from work. Those are just little teeny tiny things that you can do.
Yeah, I feel like this one kind of ties into one of the earlier ones, around service and like sacrificing yourself at times. How do you feel like you do this one? How do you feel like how do you feel like this like plays a part in our marriage?
I do think that this is one that I need to work on more. But one of them was we're going to see Josiah
Yeah,
and going to
yeah.
the concert in November.
That is great, yeah.
When it's time to go to Minnesota, a lot of the times I get the flights. I
Yeah.
do all the things that we need to do in order to go to Minnesota. You reach out to your aunts and make sure we have
Yeah.
a doggy sitter
I
and stuff
think
like
it's
that.
like I think it's when I think of washing feet, what I think of is doing the things you're not required to do. You know, because we have agreements. Like the examples you were given, I'm like, you don't do those because of our agreements in place. Like I prepare a lot of our food, right? Like that's just like how our marriage works, and that's our current agreements and our lifestyle right now.
Yeah.
And so like when I think of like doing the things you're not required to do, but are wonderful to do because of service. I think of the times that I've come downstairs and you and Athena have done the dishes, even though at that moment it was my time to do the dishes, right? Like I think of the other day, like I always make breakfast sandwiches for us for the week. And I think of the other day when I had them cooking and then I had to come upstairs to do my workout and how you finished the process without me even having to ask you. So I think you do. The reason I asked is why,
To
like,
see if I see it.
to see if you see
I
the
didn't
ways that you
start
do
them
it.
the other day. I did the entire process the other day without you asking.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to point
Yeah.
out to you, that I think when it comes to washing feet, it's not always these grand gestures. It's like the little things you do that you're not asked to do or you're not required to do or that isn't in our agreement. Like it's not
Yeah.
your turn to do the dishes, that kind of thing, but you still do them because you can be of service in that moment. And, you're not doing anything else.
Like because we have a red light that we never use. And the one day I was like, hey, babe, go take 20 minutes, stand in front of the red light and just soak in the rays.
Yeah.
So
that's a good example too.
It's like little things like that. Like you said, you don't have to do grand gestures, but you have to do something.
Otherwise, it's like, because I know there have been seasons in our marriage where that wasn't happening, right? Like we weren't as giving to one another because we're in survival, right? And I don't hold that against us at all, and I don't hold that against you at all. I think there's different seasons for everything, but I think that, oh gosh, where was I going with that? Oh my gosh, what did you say right before I started saying that?
It's not grand gestures, maybe.
Oh, I remember. Sorry.
I was like, sometimes I forget what I say.
Yeah, I think during those times it was like, oh, do you even care about me? You know, like if there's no thought of me, like I don't know at all. I didn't know at the time at all if you even thought of me, if you weren't doing little things like that. But when you do those things, I know he's thinking of me. He's thinking, let me get this done for her so she doesn't have to do it when she's done. Or let me provide this moment of relaxation that wouldn't have existed unless I, with the red light, unless I suggested it. Those kind of things. That's like, oh, he's thinking about me. He's thinking about us. He cares. Those things, like, even in small ways, prove that we're a team, that we're not just isolated and living our lives next to each other.
No, I totally agree. And I mean, sometimes it is hard to see those small things, but when
I point them out,
when she points them out and connects the dots, it's like, oh, I could do more of that.
Yeah.
So I think that it is important to sit down and have these conversations, so that way you know what she likes and what she doesn't like, and how you can show up in more of what she likes. I think that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one is kind of ties in, but it's stay steady when she's not. And it's don't chase her emotions or react to her mood. Be the calm in the storm and anchor, or the anchor when she feels unsteady. And this is like kind of just being able to hold space again. But this is more like a chaotic, when you're just angry and you're yelling and you want to throw something and stuff like that. Like, don't take that personally and don't react to her anger, because then you just have two people angry and it just turns into this blown up thing that you're both going to look back on and you're going to feel ashamed about it, because it was just the stupidest thing you could have done. You could have handled it so much better, but you allowed her emotions to kind of dictate how you responded.
Yeah, I think this one can go so many different ways, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But I think women typically are predisposed to be more emotional and like have more waves. So for example, like even through a menstrual cycle, like there's a time in the month where I don't want to be around you as much, like I get annoyed by every little thing you do.
Unless I bring chocolate.
No, that's not true. Maybe. But like, yeah, so I think what this is really talking about is, holding space, but not letting it determine the relationship and the environment. And so being steady means like to meet it, not to match it, is how I interpret that.
So, love that. Yeah, I love that. And then create rhythms, not rules. So how I look at this one is, sometimes I'll say, babe, we really need to pray more. Or we need to do more of this. We need to do more of that. Which I'm kind of like bringing it up, but I'm not actually moving us closer to where I want us to go. Because it's so much, it's so easy to say, we need to do X. But what you should be saying to kind of move the ball forward is like, hey, babe, do you want to pray together right now? Because that invites her into it in this moment. and doesn't say, it doesn't make it a future event. If you want to pray more, then pray right now. You don't need to wait 3 hours, 4 hours before you go to bed, before you eat, any of that. You can invite her. If it's on the top of your mind and you both have 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, just ask her, hey, babe, do you want to pray with me right now? And that invites her in.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates a rhythm instead of trying to just make rules.
Yeah. I think like rhythms are things that happen at a pace, right? Like if you think of like a music rhythm, like happens here and here and here. I think of a rhythm like it happens sometimes towards the beginning of the week, sometimes towards the end of the week. Like it's a rhythm that happens again and again, rather than we have to have a date every Monday, right? Like there's a rhythm. There's a date here. There's a date there. There's a date, there's time together here. There's time together here. There's time together here. And so that's kind of how I see that one. Like just having things built into the rhythm of your life together rather than we have to be this way and we have to do that. Just kind of like an art of a rhythm together.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Love her through her process, which is she doesn't need a perfect husband. She needs a patient one. Love her where she is while calling her higher, just like Christ does with you.
This will be a touchy subject. Do you know what I'm going to bring up?
No.
Okay. I think one of the things that has been a process through our marriage is from the beginning, you have made it like clear that it's important to you for our lifestyle to be healthy, to be in shape, to care about your physical appearance, to care about your physical body. But you mostly came at it from like this is an important value of mine to be healthy, right? And so there were times where I felt maybe not good enough or judged or whatever, because that's something that God is working with me on creating rhythms around health, creating rhythms around exercise in my busy life. And that's kind of like one thing I've felt personally convicted by the Holy Spirit of, these are things that are important to the Holy Spirit for me, right? To like exercise. And it's not that I don't exercise at all. It's just like having more routine around it, right? And having more focus on it. And I know the Holy Spirit has been working in you through the journey, like of when we first had Athena to now, where previously I might have felt judged and like I didn't feel loved through my process in the beginning.
Yeah.
But there did come a time of me sharing that with you where you were able to kind of see where I was and love and accept my process for where I was when it came to health, when it came to routine, and when it came to what I was going through during that time.
When we were living in the apartment, we were having this conversation together. And because I could totally, like before that, I was just like, I had this vision for what I wanted our life, us, my wife, everything to kind of look like. And there was a time after we had Athena that I was so hard on it. And the reason I was hard on it was because I was looking at everybody else's life.
Mm-hmm.
And being like, this person had a baby X amount of time ago and look at, and all of these things. And I just was not a good husband at all.
in that moment.
Yeah.
Or in that like one area
The
of
little
our life.
season in that one area.
Yeah, in that one area. Yeah. And I also think that like you were confronted with, we both were, right? But we're talking about you in this moment. Like you were confronted with everything that was changing, that was not matching what you wanted.
Yeah.
Right? Like having a baby radically changed our lifestyle, obviously, right? Like obviously. And so I think that was like one part of it. But yeah. And then so what changed for you? How did that change for you?
I just realized that this is a season that we're living in. There was something that I was listening to that said, you, instead of just living your life as just one big journey, live it as chapters.
Mm.
And some chapters are going to be absolutely amazing, like the best thing in the world. And some chapters are going to be some of the most difficult times in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, you know what? This is a chapter, and I'm at the end of this chapter, and it's time to rewrite a new one.
Yeah.
So we were back in our faith around that time and everything, and I was just kind of praying on it, and I was just like, you know, I love my wife so much. And for so long I tried to like fix it and always make sure she's happy and all of this stuff, and I just realized that I was making her unhappy because of the way that I was subconsciously judging the
My habits at the time,
yeah
my lack of wanting to exercise at the time, like all that kind of stuff.
yeah, and it was like
I had really bad habits. I was just like sad, honestly.
yeah,
I just
you
probably had some depression,
well, you definitely had post-traumatic,
post-traumatic,
or what's it called?
postpartum.
Post-traumatic partum disorder.
Making stuff up here.
Yeah.
No, yeah. And what's funny is like we have the same value and goal in regards to that. Like, of course, like I want to exercise more, and I should have back then, right? Like it would have helped my mood. It would have helped all those things. So in some ways you did see something that like the point said, like you did want me to grow in really good ways that would have helped me. Like you did see something I couldn't see about myself, but when you don't bring the heart of Jesus to it,
Yeah.
and the love and the presence, it doesn't land the same way as it does, when you do. Like loving her process can look like her process through change, can look like her process through something emotional, can look like, her coming to terms with things by herself, which is what it's been for me. Like,
because it's like,
yeah,
it's like being a drug addict, where no matter how many times somebody sends you to treatment, if you don't actually want that help, you're not going to see all the solutions that are presented in front of you, and you're never going to have that transformation, and you're never going to change.
mm-hmm.
And until she was ready to like start taking those steps and all of that, there was nothing that I could say, nothing that I could do to make her want to do it even more.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually doing the complete opposite. And she, from what I was like thought, where if I'm like, babe, you should really work out, and then you have this like, oh, he thinks I'm disgusting or whatever.
Yeah, it
these
would
thoughts are
spiral
going
the
through.
opposite way for sure. I don't
And
think you ever directly said that to me though, but yeah, as an example.
yeah, and then it's like kind of wanted to stick it to the man. Well, now I'm going to go eat this dessert or some.
That did not happen. You're making stuff up right now.
I'm not saying like that happened in our relationship, but
Okay.
I can see it happening because I dated.
I mean, subconsciously, yeah, that could happen for sure. Like, oh, he thinks I'm disgusting. He's like, doesn't like me anymore, whatever.
So what's the point?
Or like that can fuel destructive patterns too, where then, someone might go into working out and stuff like that, but never be able to hold the pattern because it wasn't in their heart in the first place, right? Yeah, I'm curious, like, because here we are sharing, some sensitive, tender subjects, I think, that people don't really talk about, right? And they're not tender or sensitive to us now because we're kind of like had worked through that and beyond that in many ways. But have you guys experienced things like this where you felt judged by your partner or criticized, or you felt like he wasn't loving your process or she wasn't loving your process and kind of holding that space for you to grow? And because I know a lot of women would feel very insecure by what I'm talking about right now. And at the time, I did feel a little insecure until I felt your love behind it all. And we kind of worked through that. And you also changed your heart's posture around that from my feedback. And thanks to the Holy Spirit. But have you guys experienced something like this? What is your take on it? Would you have felt super insecure? Would that have been a deal breaker? Some people, that's a deal breaker for, like, that's like a really big deal. And so I just want to kind of hear you guys. You can message us in the Instagram chat. We're going to have that link below so you guys can join the Instagram channel chat where we stay up to date and, you know, chat with each other. But babe, is there anything else on this list?
Yeah, I saved
the best one for last.
I think the best one, the most important one for last. This one can go into your sexual intimacy. It can go into emotional intimacy. It can go into every part of your life. And especially when it comes to like the sexual intimacy, a lot of men go into it with a goal in mind, and it's about performance. I'm going to go in there and she's going to do what she needs to do. And that's kind of like the end goal.
So what's the point of this one?
It's presence over performance.
Oh, I love that.
And
that's a good one.
Presence is just like 10 minutes of your presence and you being there and staring at her in her eyes and just listening and talking and just being 100% emotionally available, putting your phone away, just making sure that, you know, you are there and you are there with her. Especially when it comes to sexual intimacy, where there's been times where it just, I guess, felt like a chore almost. So it's all about performance. Like, how fast can I get her to the point versus actually just being there, listening to her body, figuring out what she likes without her having to like say like that's great and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think of, say, like when we first started dating, I think of performance being if you had bought me like a fancy bag or something, which you never did, thank goodness, because I just like don't care. Like if you had bought me a fancy bag, that's like the world's performance, right? Like that's like a thing. Like you buy your girl a nice bag, like that's like a worldly thing, very worldly thing. Versus presence, like you read me, you could feel what I liked, and you bought me this like beautiful ring with this like big crystal on it, like a moonstone crystal that is just like gorgeous, right? And that to me is presence over performance.
That, and I would add like how much money you make. That is performance. But a lot of women,
myself, we've had this conversation like, so many times,
doesn't care how much money you make. At the beginning of a relationship, I was like, I have to make millions and millions of dollars so I can give us the best life possible. And she's like, babe,
the best life possible is
I could literally live in a yurt in the middle of a forest as long as we're surrounded by beautiful nature and we're able to go out and like get the things that we need and we just have each other.
Yeah.
Like that's all that really matters. And it took me a long time to get over
the performance of masculinity.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah, that's been a conversation so many times of like, you know, what matters when it comes to our lifestyle. And I also think when it comes to just like that in specific, there's something to be said about what God calls us to. right? Like God is not calling us to you're in the forest. He's also not calling us to chase money, but he is calling us to build a fruitful life where we have financial resources and stuff like that. So just a small note on that I think it does matter where God is calling you in your partnership, but presence over performance, especially sexually, I think it's hard for men. Women too, though. Women too. I had just wrote a Substack on this about the performance of sex and how the Substack is called When Sex Becomes a Prayer. And you haven't read it yet, but it was about last week. And yeah, Mike probably doesn't. He doesn't read most of my stuff because he's shy about some of the stuff that I share.
I'm like, sometimes I don't want to know what she's saying about me, even if it's like amazing things. Amazing things.
You should read it. I'll read it to you later. But it's called When Sex Becomes a Prayer because so many women are caught up in the performance of sex and the pressure and all of that. And we forget the prayerful presence that sex and relationship is supposed to be, like of meeting the moment, of listening to the Holy Spirit in the moment of what wants to happen, not what should happen, what wants to happen in the marriage, not what the world says should happen, right? Among so many other things. So I love that you saved that one for last because it feels very important. It feels like when you have presence over performance, a lot of these other things can really fall into place. So thank you for guiding that today and for having some, godly husband qualities laid out for us, for me to riff on and talk about. Is there anything you would add for people?
No, I think those are the 11 that I try to follow almost all the time now. I know sometimes I slip up and
we're not meant to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And like those are some of the things that I teach inside of the Fathered course that I have and all of that. And yeah, I just hope everybody watching got value in it, and let us know which ones that you resonated with the most. Let us know which ones that you're going to start working on. And like Samantha said, she's going to just leave me hanging.
Oh, sorry. You were asking for me.
Like Samantha said, you can join our Instagram broadcast group. We have it set right now so that way you can respond to us as well, so that way we can actually have conversations around these episodes, and you can ask us questions that we can answer on these podcasts and just go deeper and deeper and deeper and just share our journey of being made new.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining, and I can't wait to talk to you in the Instagram channel. I don't know what they're technically called.
I think they're called broadcast channels.
Okay, in the broadcast channel, I'm going to figure out what they're actually called because I've called it like 8 different things in my Instagram stories. But we'll have all those links for you below for Mike's Unmasked and Fathered course, as well as my Instagram and for the Instagram chat as well, so that we can all stay connected. We totally want to hear from you and meet like-minded couples that care about this stuff too. So we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. Cheers.